Keeping them honest every night. AC 360. CNN, weeknights 10 Eastern.
We begin tonight keeping them honest with blood on the streets in Syria and blood on the hands of a dictator who promises reform but continues to kill his own people. Watch. Local human rights organizations put the death toll today upwards of 75. That number appears to be rising. Peaceful protesters fired upon. It's impossible to independently confirm the number of people killed. One protester, whom you'll hear from shortly, tells us it was like hell today. There were protests throughout Syria. Watch as one person tried to retrieve the body of a dead protester. Driven back by more gunfire. The violent response to the protests comes just one day after the Syrian regime lifted its state of emergency, which has been in effect since 1963. Syria now claiming people have the right to protest peacefully, but that claim is clearly false. Under the new guidelines, the Syrian dictatorship must approve any demonstration. This is, of course, the same dictatorship that says the protesters are part of a conspiracy of Islamic militants and foreign forces. So who would apply for a permit to protest and risk being labeled a conspirator? As for those government gunmen who fire into crowds, security forces in Syria still have legal immunity, so they can do whatever they want and not be prosecuted. That's how Syria's dictator Bashar al-Assad rules, through fear and his security services. Nevertheless, what we are all witnessing is extraordinary, that so many are still demonstrating, even though the government continues to crack down. Here's what one protester told me earlier today.
2 months ago, it was like a dream that Syrians have the courage to go to the streets and protest. You know, more than 48 years under the emergency laws, it was no way to protest. And I thought that the Syrians will never protest. What I see now in those states is like a miracle. It's unbelievable.
Like a miracle and unbelievable, he says. This evening, the White House issued a statement condemning Syria's crackdown. The Syrian government's moves yesterday to repeal Syria's decades-old emergency law and allow for peaceful demonstrations were not serious, given the continued violent repression against protesters today. They went on to say the Syrian people have called for the freedoms that all individuals around the world should enjoy. President Assad and the Syrian authorities have repeatedly rejected their calls and chosen the path of repression.